Hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. We have 4 entrepreneurs that we are helping this evening. And as always, I'm asking you to join in. Feel free to comment if you've got good ideas, things that the entrepreneurs could be doing, any ideas on what they could be doing better, how you could help them personally. And in addition, if you've got any questions, my team will be monitoring all the comments and all the different channels that we're broadcasting on tonight. So feel free to ask us questions. We might not get back to you instantly, but we always get back to people and their questions. Now, our mission is to help millions of people start a business of their own and make sure that anyone that does not feel alone doing it. So tonight, I'm very lucky to have an entrepreneur joining me to help the entrepreneurs that need our support. So I'm just going to introduce Alvin. Welcome up. How are you doing?
Hey, good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Now, for my community that haven't heard of you yet, maybe do you mind quickly just for a minute explaining who you are and what you're all about?
Sure thing. So I'm a Mancunian born and raised, worked my way down to London, started my career in finance and private equity, and then most recently started a business called Housekeep, which is the UK's biggest platform connecting households and cleaners. So done millions of house cleans, high ratings, and acting as a marketplace between those two. So kind of know a lot about consumers, digital marketplaces. And then my old private equity experience means I've invested in a bunch of other businesses along the way across loads of different sectors. And I love chatting to entrepreneurs. I love trying to be helpful where I can.
I just interviewed Evan, and we'll have soon his podcast coming out. You'll be able to hear his whole story and his knowledge. So look out for that, dropping soon. Now, our first entrepreneur that we're helping this evening, Jesper, is just arrived. So I'm going to bring him up. Hi, Jesper. Am I saying your name right, Jesper?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you very much.
Oh, great. Well, welcome. And myself and Alvin are here to help you this evening. So why don't we start off by you telling us a little bit about what you're doing and how we might be able to support you.
Yeah, thank you very much for bringing me on. When COVID hit, I started an agency. It's called Online Changemakers, and we help experts create online programs that don't flop. That means that we are very keen on making sure there's a market and a product fit. I've been designing products online since the 90s, all kinds of different stuff, crowdfunding, SaaS products, all this kind of stuff. And everything always with a focus on giving the customer what they need in a package of what they want. And there's a lot of experts who have like half-finished stuff and then don't really get going anywhere. The people we work with are busy, they're not going to take a course or something like that. And we offer like a done for you. So we extrapolate the knowledge because everybody has probably like 20 different programs in them. And we make sure what is it that they know how to do, like how to do, and that people actually want.
Very cool. And what do you need? What can we do to support you this evening?
I found out that because now my agency is like a year old. I started many years ago in the 90s working as a designer in an agency. I kind of always dreamed of having my own agency, and now I found out we're doing pretty good. But I don't know shit about running an agency or creating an agency or building an agency because I've always been on the inside, working in the business, not actually working on the business.
And so what's your ambition then? Is it you don't know how to run an agency, so you don't know where you're going? Or is it you know where you're going, but you're not sure how to get there?
Yeah, I kind of know where we want to go. We work with freelancers from all over the world. We like to keep it smooth and, free. We're not out to get big headquarters or anything like that. It is more like a digital thing. I've been in this online space for many years. So I know people all over the place who can do cool stuff like authors and video editors, copywriters, and all that kind of stuff. And that's the thing. I just want to grow and have, create SOPs. Basically, I know all the delivery stuff because that's what I've been doing for a long time. But actually, how do we scale? How do I, do we need like 20, like 100 or 300 freelancers? And how do we manage that? And, yeah.
Well, I'll let Alvin jump in a minute. I'll just say that the way I scaled my agency was I got it to a point where I could hire senior management that could run the company without me. So scale was important for me to get to that point. And then once it was at that point and profitable, I started taking on business where I wasn't just being paid as an agency. I was able to take equity in the businesses that I was helping. So it wasn't just a service fee. You know, we would help those companies become successful and then own 5% in those companies, which is far more scalable than the service business. So that's how I did it. Doesn't mean it's the only way to do it. It doesn't even mean it's the best way to do it. But it depends on when you say you want to grow it, what your end goal is really. Now, Aaron he knows finance very well. He's grown businesses himself. I don't know if you have any thoughts as well, Aaron, on that.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Jesper, and well done on the progress you've made so far. I think I'd sort of start with what Simon said. So it depends where you're trying to get to here. You know, do you want this to be your business, you running it, you doing the legwork and a kind of lifestyle business for yourself? Or is it going to be something that you want to be much bigger? You know, you don't have to have headquarters to do that, but you may have the ambition that this is going to do, you know, 1 million or 100 million or whatever the numbers are. And you need different kind of approaches to get to different endpoints. And you can do them step by step. You can get to gate 1. You can say, hey, I got here, I'm happy. I got to gate 2, I got here, I'm happy. And so I'd certainly think about where am I trying to get to and what's gate 1 for you? You know, what's the first proof of success for you? And then I sort of work backwards in terms of what you need from there. I guess, look, I don't have much experience in agencies, say, but I think one of the questions you probably need to ask is around, is this going to be a kind of bespoke service or a kind of productized kind of service? Do you sell something that, you sell, blue widgets and that's all you sell? Or is it going to be more bespoke and tailored to your audiences and your users?
And we have one specific product.
Right. Okay. So that makes it, well, I was going to say, and that would lead you down a route where you'd say, probably you're talking about saying, okay, is this one specific product enough? How big is the market for that? Or do you need to build adjacent products? Can you cross-sell these products to your new products to your users? And then start thinking about kind of streamlining that and making that efficient. You know, if you are going to be, and it depends where you want to get, if you're going to be a one product business, we're going to sell the same thing on repeat. You probably want to start thinking about how you do that in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about hyper growth or even big growth, you might think about
2 phases to it. Now, first we say we create their offer, their irresistible offer with the product market fit, and launch it. We have a process for that, done it several times. And then after that, it's more like, okay, now you have a product that actually works. Then we bring in the marketing and we do like bigger launches and stuff like that. And usually we do that on some kind of equity deal.
Yeah, that makes
and that whole thing we can take on like multiple people once I have a team to handle it and make sure everything is running. And that's kind of where we are right now, getting the right team members, creating the SOPs and things like, making that smooth so that I don't have to manage everything.
It sounds pretty sensible from what in the few minutes that you've described. It doesn't sound like you're on the wildly wrong path or anything. What are the blockers that you're finding? What's the barrier to being, let's say, 2-3 times as big? Let's not worry about 100 times as big right now.
That would be establishing a process to get a steady flow of clients. Creating calls and having people take care of that. Creating some marketing to drive some traffic to that call system, and then on the inside have the whole onboarding process and actually deliver the right team members, probably more of the team members, more copywriters, more video editors, more tech automation people, and then people to manage that.
I mean, I think in the agency business, the underrated element is the sales and marketing team. Because, I mean, the execution team is always important for an agency, but the sales and marketing processes, I think the only reason my company ever scaled was because we had a permanent sales and marketing team, whereas most agencies don't. They work through the creatives with this assumption that good creative will lead to more work, which it kind of does and kind of doesn't. Because if you don't have someone out there pitching to the companies that could be working with you, it doesn't matter how good you are, they don't hear of you, right? So I don't know. I mean, do you have a sales and marketing team now? Or another way of asking you this is like, what is if we could wave a magic wand, what is it you think you need that you're missing?
I have a process for generating sales calls through LinkedIn that I need to implement, and for that I need some people, a VA to do some posting and connecting and all that kind of stuff, and then down the line I'm gonna do the sales calls to begin with, and then down the line I need people to actually do the sales calls.
Okay. Well, go ahead, Alvin. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd concur with what Simon's saying there. It sounds like you have a pretty good background and handle on. I think what you're saying is that your operations and processes and delivery and technology are not as slick as you'd like them to be right now, but you kind of know how to get there. And so,
just looking, basically, the way we get clients right now is by referral. It's my network and people who refer other people, and that can only go so far.
Yeah,
and
that's very typical for agencies in the early days. And I think moving, and Simon will know this better than me, but moving from founder-led network, kind of very happy customer sales to a scalable sales and marketing organization is difficult, and all agencies face this. It's a generic challenge that lots of agencies face. And I guess perhaps another way of thinking about the problem for yourself is, what's the thing that worries you most at night, and as a consequence makes you think, gosh, this might not work out, the business might not go where I want it to go. And it sounds like all that operational stuff, you can make it better, but you kind of know how, and you know what you need to do. Because it sounds like on that sales and marketing side, you're still in the early days of exploring, and you'll probably be the best salesperson day one. You'll probably be the best because you'll be able to say, what are the client needs? Can we adjust our product to fulfill it? In the same way that, I was our best salesperson for selling cleaning, day one, because I could say, well, we'll change our product. Our product's wrong, and whereas that gets harder as you get. And so I'd certainly encourage you to kind of solve your biggest problem first, and that sounds like it might be it. And you can probably, the same way you've learned how to do other things and you've shown you can do that, you can probably learn how to solve this problem too.
Yeah, I think maybe my worry is if I really get the marketing machine dialed in, then I have this, the perfectionist. Then I also have to really have the delivery system dialed in as well. So it's kind of like
I would recommend that you run those two systems separately, because when I first, I'm married to my head of design, right? I'm sales. And I married my head of design. And if I spoke to her and said, do you have the capability to do a new project? She'd always say no. Because designers will take 3 weeks, or designers will take a week. There's always that element of and the sales are the sales. You need cash flow, you need to grow, right? So I would be a little bit careful. You sound like a mixture of the two, the ability to do sales and creative. Sometimes you need, they need to talk to each other, don't get me wrong, but I always used to say, if we win the work, we can hire more people. If you really can't do the new work coming in the door. And that's the trick with agency work, right? You have to win it to hire the people. And then you charge a 50% deposit to generate the income to then actually hire those people, right? And it's kind of a winner takes all if you don't do that. However, I'll just say in the last few minutes we have together, just because this is just getting to know you and seeing if we can give you some quick wins with a bit of advice. But, you mentioned something earlier about having a product. I have to say, if I did my time again in the agency world, I would have had a little bit of cash flow for my agency business, and then not really scaled it human wise. I would have gone in more heavily onto the product side. So if you've got a product that can infinitely scale, right? I mean, if you're, I don't know what is the product?
Yeah, I think I had a SaaS company once where we did marketing ROI analysis software. So it's not like a product, like a software, but it's more like a service, a packaged service. Where we take, with using an interview process, we extrapolate the knowledge from the experts and actually turn it into a product and a sales letter, so that they have something, and we validate it actually with marketing analysis and actual sales in the process. So we know that, okay, this actually works for their audience. and then they can take that and basically, we can continue working with them, or they can, take it to any marketing agency or funnel expert and all that kind of stuff.
I think basically that I would focus in on that. Have you ever read about the agency Signal 37? Do you know these guys?
Yeah, 37 Signals.
Yeah,
I've been following them back in the day since they do.
Yeah, I mean they're the genius model at this, right? And I think actually I missed the trick in my agency because we built Asia's first email marketing system, and so clients were coming to us, and we were charging them a lot for design and charging them nothing to use our email marketing service. I should have flipped it. We were basically, SendMonkey or one of these email marketing potential, but we spent so much time believing that our creative was special and the email marketing system was just a tool. And actually we got that wrong, right? If you look at history now, the actual software is far more valuable than the creative. The creative's become a bit commoditized. It's templates, right? And it's like, stick your logo in here and you need to know what subject line to generate. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that maybe instead of scaling the operations and scaling the sales, give some thought to like, can you scale the automation of selling the software piece? I know you say it's not software, but to me, it sounds like it could be. You're selling an automated service that allows agencies to understand their clients better, if I've understood you right. And that is
experts, creating online programs for experts that actually sell to their audience.
Yeah, because if you can sell that at scale, that's far better than I think creative services at scale, right?
Yeah. We don't in that sense. We're not like a classical agency where we do creatives or web design or stuff like that. It is that product we help experts launch and create their online programs.
I would say, can you automate it? Can you remove the need to grow people-wise, and can you automate the sales process?
I would never say no, but right now I can feel that where we have the traction is that we can actually help people. You could probably solve this with an AI because we use an interview process, where we record the interview and then we give it to a copywriter and they extract all the knowledge. We have a framework that they use to extract the knowledge, and we make a draft. See, okay, is this, what do you think of this product? Is that hitting, because in their expertise, they probably, there's some lingo and things like that that's specific, but we can kind of get the ballpark right from the interview process for what they're saying, and then we can fine tune it to make sure that we're actually using the same language as they use in their field.
I think I imagine a step to automation being kind of self-serve, right? We've got a self-serve product for these guys where they can do a lot of it themselves.
Yeah, but that's what we have done.
Step to automation.
We have, we've done that usually, and that people struggle like crazy doing that, and that's why I found out, okay, let's take away that struggle, and then we actually do it for them.
I guess it's hard for us to totally understand your business in a quick chat like this, but can you scale that product? Can you just focus without increasing manpower and increasing sales? Can you do a growth hack on it, for example? I hate that. I know it's old terminology, but can you do?
I guess we can. If we could definitely use some technology. That's for sure, and the whole process can be optimized as well. And again, if we stick to the same frameworks, so it's kind of like filling in the. There's very little that needs to be one-on-one interaction with the client, but that's the most important thing, because that's where we get out the right information, so they don't have to sit and guess and struggle with figuring out what of the 120 things that they're good at would actually fit, because we can see that right away when we interview them following our framework. Then the picture forms in our heads because we've done it so long. And then it's just presenting them, what if this was your offer? What do you think of that? And usually we get it right.
Yeah. Again, I think I don't know if I'm missing it. Is this a HR tool? Is this like how to understand people kind of thing? Am I missing? I'm not quite grasping what it is.
We help experts create their online programs.
Help experts create their online programs. Who are the experts?
That can be anything. People who are expert in usually it's individuals. We've helped biohackers, and we've helped some people in like training things. It is. And some, I'm working right now with a customer who's doing like a sales training program and things like that. Anybody, it's a knowledge program, info business thing.
So someone goes on, they fill out your kind of automated document, and then at the end of it, it spits out how they should do it. Am I right?
Yeah, except it's not an automated document. We do an interview process with them. We have a framework that we follow during the interviews,
Right.
asking them questions. And then, because then we can dig out more information if we need it. And after that, there's a recording, and basically the copywriter who knows the process can take that recording and then extrapolate all the right information to create all the modules and the bonuses. And then we need a little bit more information for the sales later about like hero's journey and all that kind of stuff. It's not really that new. It's like basically direct mail tactics, like all this online thing is, but there is a process, and the hard part for people is if they don't know all this kind of stuff, coming out with the right information, because usually the experts, they have way more information than the people need, and it's hard for them to pick and choose and then present it in a way so that they actually give people what they are looking for, and not necessarily what they know they need, because there's usually not a match there.
I'm having that problem with you. I'm trying to. I want to put you through your own system to understand, like, what it actually is that you have and what it is you actually need to be able to achieve what you're trying to achieve. So one, I'm not quite sure what you want to achieve apart from scale. Two, I'm not sure. Can you make this like Myers-Briggs? Like if I fill in Myers-Briggs, it gives me a personality profile, right? Can you? Do you know what I'm talking about when I say Myers-Briggs?
I've heard the name, can't remember exactly, but yeah.
Okay, so basically it's a personality profile system. But anyway, what I'm saying is they automated the personality profile system, right? So then I pay £1,000 to get access to this software. I input myself and my team's information, and at the end of it, it comes out with a circle saying where I sit within that circle, where my team sits within that circle. I mean, can you take this manual thing that you're doing and
I can imagine that.
A thing that people can pay a subscription fee for?
Yeah, I can imagine that.
That is exciting, I think, as a scalable business model.
And I think it sounds like you're reasonably clear on how you do that part of it. I think it's going back a few minutes. I think the bit you're less sure about is, can you get more sales in the top? And so slightly different approach, perhaps, Simon. I'd probably say it sounds like you kind of know what you do to automate a lot of this stuff. So don't worry about the things you can fix later. The question on scale to me is, can you get more users? Can you get more of these experts to sign up, probably in a specific vertical initially, or can you find a scalable way of doing that? Because I guess if you can't do that, it doesn't make much difference if you can automate. You can automate and build a smaller business, but you can always do that later. So I'd probably sequence them the other way.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I want to suggest as a follow-up, because our next guest is waiting, is if you want, why don't you send me, or why can't I go through the process? Let me see what the product is that you're actually offering here, and see if there's a way to package it up and put it in a box.
Sure.
And maybe that's an easier way to scale your business and sell that as an off-the-shelf solution. And maybe you can get affiliate partners, for example. There might be all sorts of different ways to do it. But I think personally, I need to understand the product a bit before I can, see if that's feasible for you or not. But so why don't you send it, and I'll play around and see how manual it needs to be and whether there's a way to scale it for you. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Your system will just reach out to me, and I can reply and see what it is, because it is an interview process.
Yeah.
You start with the interview.
Do me a favor, just so I don't miss it, Jesper. Just reach out to Talia after this and get a time. How long does it take? How long does the interview process take?
The interview itself is probably like an hour or two. Depends on how clear you are on what you can do and stuff. You're probably pretty clear on it. So
I'm very unclear. So anyway, put some time in the diary with Talia. I don't want to speak for Alvin, but why don't you put in the diary for me, and then I'll have a look at it, and then maybe we can circle back once we've got a better understanding of the product and how you might be able to scale the business based on that. Okay.
All right. Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Thanks, Jesper.
Thanks, everybody.
Welcome, Maduzi. I'm definitely saying your name wrong. I'm so sorry. It's Maduzi, is it?
Yes, it's Mtu. Hi, Simon. How are you?
Okay, good. How are you?
Good. Nice to meet you, eh?
Likewise. Thanks for reaching out to us, and I would love to hear what you're doing and maybe how myself and Alvin can help you.
Oh, yes. Actually, I'm a high school teacher, science teacher, but 2 years ago, I started this ice and water business because it apparently it has a high demand in my area. So, but how did I start? I took a loan, a business loan. So I took a business loan, then I had two options because I couldn't get the two things going together. Actually, it's ice and water. So I decided to start with ice. So I bought this ice machine. So this is my workshop. So I have this ice machine I bought, and then I built a workshop with a water reservoir because water is a bit of a problem in my area. So I had to build a water reservoir in order to keep water. So I started in 2019, but apparently when we were supposed to start clearly, then COVID-19 lockdown came through, and then we couldn't work, and then we suffered a lot up until towards the end of 2020, which was last year, when the lockdown was a bit over. The festive season was here, which is a peak season for the ice product, actually. Unfortunately, what I didn't see ahead was that my machine is capable of producing lots of ice. Unfortunately, I did not invest in the storage because you need like big storage to make ice and then you can store it. So I was hit a bit, but eventually the country was closed again because I'm here from South Africa. So I think about towards the end of December, the country was closed again. So we couldn't work as much as we were suffering the storage thing again. But another thing that I decided to do, even though I haven't started with having my own water system, purification system here in my workshop. So what I did with the water, I went for I think it's called white labeling, where you would get a product from someone who is producing the product, but then go with the sticker so that, because what I wanted to do, even though I did not have water product in the process, but I wanted to open the market because with the ice product, I was already getting like customers from your filling stations, hotels, B&Bs, bars and restaurants. So there are some which I got to supply. And they were also asking me because when I went for my branding and stuff, I just went for ice water business. So they demanded the water business. So I went for the white labeling. I talked to some guy who's already producing water. I told him I'm having this demand because I'm also producing ice, but my customers also need water, which is my future product. So I think this is a good time to just introduce it in the meantime. So I ordered water from this guy and then I put the label for my company and then I got it in the market. Now the thing is the ice season is over because now this side it's winter. So the demand for ice is a bit low. But now I'm having this high demand for water, which I did the white labeling for. Unfortunately, I do not have this system, purification system yet installed. Yet now I've opened this market industry for water because like most of my customers are demanding water. I've got like restaurants, your filling stations, but I'm still doing this white labeling, getting water from this guy, which is a bit expensive because I have to travel up and down, fetch water, do the designing of stickers, and then printing from someone. Actually, I was hoping if this ice thing was not disturbed and if maybe the storage was in good, by this time I would have accumulated funds in order to be able to have my water purification system in place and the printing thing, because like I did my research and I spoke with and I even got the quotation for the water purification system. It's not that expensive with the guys I consulted, which is from Johannesburg here in South Africa. Unfortunately, my ship has been like standing for this whole time, so I didn't get a chance to accumulate those funds yet. Now I'm having this demand for this water product, which was my future product, as a matter of fact. But now I'm not producing. I'm doing the white labeling, which is a bit expensive. I'm not making any profit because actually I wanted to just open the market for this product, which was the upcoming product. Now the thing is that with my main product, which I have the machine for, the demand is not that high now. But what I know, in few months time, it will be summer and the demand for ice will be very high. Yet I won't be having the storage which I was hoping to have by the time the summer season comes. So I'm stuck in between there. I don't know what to do. Maybe to give up this water product which is already in the market and there's this high demand, yet the ice is here. But what I know is that in few months time I will be having these two products now having this high demand. But I know with this one, which is ice, you need this huge storage for ice because you need to be making ice. This is the season for making ice and piling it up. So that's my problem. I'm stuck in the
Okay, I think I understand. I'm a bit conscious of time because I can already see the next entrepreneur wanting to come in.
Okay.
I think I get it. You've got two business models, and it sounds like you're saying you've got a cash flow problem. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. Because now it seems like I need to be having this water purification system in place right now. It's either I'm getting this storage for ice, which will make my ice to be ready by summertime as it comes, or I should be having this water purification system to be able to continue with the water, which is now booming on the market right now. So yes.
Okay, I just want to try and give you some useful advice in the short time we have together. So I'm just trying to get to grips with it. Can you not, if ice is going to be very popular 2 months from now, can't you pre-sell it? Can't you go to the people that will buy it, give them a 10% discount? Can they pay you in advance? It sounds like you were selling ice to them before. Is there some trust? Is that a solution to your problem? I'm brainstorming quickly with you because I don't know enough. I think the two businesses, it's getting me confused. If you just had the ice business and in 2 months you've got a demand, then I'd actually say that's great. You've got 2 months to market. Make sure you've got lots of people buying it. But am I missing something?
No, you're not missing anything. Yes, that might work. That might work if maybe I were to approach my current customers whom I am already selling.
Yeah.
The ice product which I have.
Even if they're good customers, and I say this carefully, but maybe they could be an investor in the business, or they could support you. They know there's demand. They know the market like the market. Maybe there's some way to 2 months away. It's not that long. As a marketeer, I'm like, oh my gosh, only 8 weeks left until the market's here. So I mean, that's a big opportunity to market now and get ready. And I'm assuming it's a B2B seller, right? You're selling it to businesses that sell it on to customers. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. Like your filling stations are selling it to customers. It's only the B&Bs and hotels who are using it for their bars in restaurants.
Okay. Before we wrap up, you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you've done a lot of good things already. You've started your own business. That's a hard step. You've survived a pandemic. It's a good step. You navigate your business through that. And, in a year, you've figured out 2 separate products. You've generated demand and sales for them. And you've not quite figured out production, but it's not a bad place to be. And so, actually what you're 8 weeks before the peak of ice season last year, you didn't even know there was an ice season. Whereas now you know about that, you know when it is, and you can use that to plan and do better. And so I'd be saying, okay, it would be great if you had storage, but first of all, work backwards. What's your maximum amount of ice you can produce per day? And then work backwards from that, and then you know what you can sell. And look, if somebody wants to pay you 100, rand per ice, and the other is paying you 50, well, you go with there's enough demand. You take the 100, not the 50. And then you start thinking about discounts. Who will take delivery early? Who might have storage of their own? A lot of these hotels, bars, filling stations, you think that they might have some storage. As Simon says, maybe you can get those guys to partner with you. Maybe they can buy early at a discount. Selling ice now for 80% of the price is probably a good deal versus selling at 100% of the price in 2 months' time, because at least you're getting it out the door. And I think I'd be quite heartened by what you've done so far and the steps you make. And it takes time. And each year you'll get a bit better, a bit more solid, have a little bit more cash in your pocket. And that will let you eventually make your own investments and build the business up. You don't have to do it all day one. These things can take a bit of time.
Mm.
Okay. No, thanks, Evan. That actually makes sense. So yeah, I think I'll make that my homework, then to try and work backwards to see who in my customer base can be able to take the product, who are currently with the storage, because yes, some of them, they do have this huge storage and stuff.
Right.
And maybe I can, yes, like we're saying, maybe try and partner with them and stuff, because like we've made some sort of solid relationship in the past. So yeah, I think that will work for now, up until we can just accommodate those funds.
Okay, we're going to jump to the next person now, but I would maybe just wrap up by saying the white label stuff, I understand the model. I always personally believe there's value in brand more than product. And so, if product generally is a race to the bottom, water is a good example. If you ask me, Evian is a brand. That's actually what makes that product sell, not the water. So I don't know. I mean, if you can find a partnership with the product supplier as well and make sure that's quite tight. And I think, it sounds like you've got your own brand. You're doing your own labels, you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that to me is very important, but you need a product supply side to be reasonably priced. I always like partnerships. I personally don't need 100% of a failing business. I'd rather have 50% of a successful business. And so, if the water supplier could become your partner and you're doing the brand and the labeling, I mean, I don't know, is there a deeper partnership there? White labeling is actually normally quite a slim margin business. So maybe worth having a conversation with the company that's doing the white labeling with you to see if there's something a bit deeper there for when the ice season is over.
Oh, no, that actually makes sense. No, thanks a lot, guys. No, this has been great.
Pleasure, no problem. Well, please stay within our ecosystem, and if we can continue to help you, we will.
Okay, no, we'll keep in touch. Thanks, cheers.
All right, see you. Bye. My dyslexia really doesn't help me when it comes to pronouncing names, so I'm going to probably butcher this, but I'm going to try my best. Jokseth, are you there?
Yes, I am here. It's Joseph.
Hey, Joseph. I should have just said it how I saw it. Yeah, Joseph, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Great. Well, welcome. Do you mind just telling us a little bit about what you're doing in a minute or so, and how we can help you?
Well, actually, I'm at work. I'm a steel fixer. I'm working in a construction of a nuclear power station. And I don't know how much you know about steel fixing, but we are using basic tools like end cutting pliers, and there is a special tool holder for this plier, which has been used for decades by fixers. And when I started my apprenticeship, I wasn't really happy with this holder, so I did some welding at home because I like welding, and I invented just for myself, a holder. It's completely different from the other which is used. And like a year later, one of my colleagues noticed it and he wanted to buy it from me. Okay, I sold for him, and then a few other guys wanted to buy it, so I made more. And then one of them told me that I should patent it and sell it on a larger scale, like for big companies which have hundreds of steel fixers employed. So I There is a company I contacted about the patenting, and they are doing the worldwide product search now. So if that goes through, maybe I can patent it and then see what happens from there.
I always love stories like this. Just, you fix something for yourself. So what's the next step? What do you need help with? How can myself and Alvin help you this evening? What are you thinking?
Actually, I just need advice how to get started. If I get the company said it's a really good idea and they can help me with it probably. So I just really need to wait for the result of the product search and see from there. My question is how to find a market for it, how to contact companies about this.
Could you just give us a touch more context, Joseph, on the product? Is this like, a handheld product? Is it huge? Is it expensive? Is it going to be cheap?
No, it's cheap. At the moment, I'm selling for the guys for 10 quid each.
Right. Okay. And how many people in the world need this kind of product? Is it tens, millions, hundreds of millions?
Millions, I think. There are tens of thousands of fixers in every country, if not hundreds of thousands. Not just steel fixers are using it, many people in the construction industry, like shuttering carpenters also using them, fencers. Many people are using this kind of tool. So
have you got it there? Can we see it? Have you got one?
No, not at the moment.
Oh, okay. And when you say fixer, what does it actually do? What does it fix?
Well, all the buildings on a nuclear power station are made of concrete. But inside the concrete, there is steel reinforcing bars, and these bars are tied together with wire.
When you describe it, I think there's only so many nuclear power plants, so I feel like the market is small. But you're talking about wiring concrete. It cuts that, does it? Or what does it actually do to that? It cuts the wire in the concrete.
Just imagine steel bars, and those are tied together with steel wire.
Yeah,
and then it's put in the shutter, and the concrete is poured on it. It's actually not just nuclear power stations. It's all the building which is made from concrete, there is steel inside of it.
Sure.
Yeah. And you've designed a holder for the cutter.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And what's wrong with the current holder, and why is yours better?
Especially when you are working at heights, you can't put the cutter in the holder. So the company bought like pouches which you can put on your belt and put the holders in it, but those doesn't last very long because they're made of fabric and they just deteriorate. Which I designed, you can easily put it in and take it out, even with the tool tether in it, which is stopped from falling. Yeah, and it's a lot easier and quicker to use my holder than the old one.
I must admit, it's quite a specialized area. So I'm struggling to give you meaningful advice because it doesn't feel like a mainstream consumer product. But I can't help but think in the UK, if I think about the UK market, hardware stores.
Yeah.
And they have membership and they have huge numbers. Where are you based?
Somerset.
Oh, Somerset. Okay. So you know what I mean. In England, they have a lot of these hardware stores, right? And there's only chain-wise, because I watched Dragon's Den, and I think Deborah Meaden is always saying this, or I've got contacts in the hardware stores, right? So, and basically, I think that's the answer. I think getting into trade shops, but I'm saying it really by copying Deborah Meaden on Dragon's Den. I'm not sure, Avin, if you have a more knowledge, but
I was going to say the same thing around distribution here. I mean, this isn't. Ultimately, I think the patent is a bit useful if you can patent it. It gives you a bit more protection against somebody else copying you. But I think the market here is going to be quite specialist. So you're talking about tradies. You're not going to reach them by direct mail, paid search, TV advertising. You're going to reach them through the hardware stores. That's where distribution is. It's heavily, at least in the UK, it's heavily concentrated. And so, if you watch Dragon's Den, you probably want to be one of those guys who says, I wrote to B&Q, I wrote to Homebase, I wrote to, Wix and Screwfix and so on. And I've gotten in and I've got a purchase order for 10 and we're going to trial it in the shop in Slough and we got 7 sold and now they've placed an order for 700. It's probably how you're going to start. I think if you try any other, and that's why I was asking you about how many people would use this, I think scaling this through a kind of direct to user model is going to be difficult. So really the question is, can you persuade a buyer at B&Q, Homebase, wherever it is, to take this on? And if you can, you might be up and away. And if you can't, and you'll probably get some feedback saying, product's no good, it's too expensive, it doesn't, whatever it might be, you'll probably get some useful feedback. So look, I don't know how you approach a buyer at B&Q, but I assume you can go onto B&Q website, find out, you can search on LinkedIn.
Yeah, they actually have a website. They have it on their websites that you can submit your product. I know also that Deborah Meaden listens to this podcast, so if you're listening, Deborah, you may be interested in this. I don't know, but I guess I have an out-of-the-box idea for you, which may not suit your skill set. But if I owned your business, I'd actually get a big tool company to put their logo on that product, and then buy it and give it to people.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the biggest tool companies are, but there are some big ones and they've got money. It could be a good marketing exercise. If you develop something that's safe, strong, lasts, they could see it as a giveaway marketing item. And I'd contact, you could even say Wix, I guess, but or B&Q, I guess. B&Q is now owned by Amazon, so there's a distribution opportunity there too. But I think, I kind of like the idea of a specialized tool company saying, we've got a product we want millions of people to buy, and they put their logo on it. Just an idea, out of the box idea. I'm not saying it's a good idea. But because I know how to talk to brands, if I owned your business, that's what I'd do. Probably. Because I don't really feel like there's much margin going through the B&Qs of this world. And I want to give it to your consumers because there's going to be a bigger uptake than trying to charge them for it. And so I remove 2 barriers of entry. I don't have to sell it into B&Q, and I don't have to sell it to someone once it's inside B&Q. I can sell it to one person who then gives it to that probably through some promotion at B&Q, but gives it to them. They buy some paint, they get it. They buy a tool, they get it. They order online at Amazon, they get it. And then your product scales, and you don't have to jump through hoops.
Okay.
If that works, I'm going to speak like Deborah Meaden. I want 40% of your company. If it doesn't work, no liability, never contact me again. But what do you think? Is there any other angle? I wonder, is there any other angle for this? The other angle I think of is kind of email, direct email. So what the other hack that you could do on this, I'm using that word too much tonight, is you've got clearly a community of people. You know a few people in the trade, your trade, right? So you could do I don't know, I'm just going to pick a thing, but you could ask your trade friends to tag a trade friend and try to build up an email list of people in the trade, and see if you can get 20, 30, 40,000 people's emails, and then do some sort, and I'm just brainstorming now with you, but you could create some sort of internal crowdfunding campaign, and you could even do something clever like everybody in the trade owns a part of this pouch business and they invest, and then with that you could also end up developing other products, like a mini crowdfunding trade thingy. It's a bit wild, but I'm just throwing it at you. I don't know how connected you are in the trade, but that mailing list would be quite valuable, and ironically then Wix will be pitching to you, can we please use your email list to try and promote our products? So can you turn the table? But I don't know your skill set or any of those things appeal, but yeah, just kind of brainstorming a second with you.
It's a good idea. I'm in contact with the trade guys through Facebook. There is a group on the Steel Fixers Unite, so there are thousands of fixers in it.
That seems like an obvious marketing channel in that case.
Yeah.
If you can start selling through there, that verifies this demand as well. It verifies the product's good.
Yeah.
I've never seen anyone do. I mean, I'm not that connected to the trade. I've got a brother actually who's a tradesman. He owns a glazing company now, but he started out just fitting people's windows. He now owns East Anglia's largest glazing company, and he is a tradesman. But you know, he actually does B2B trade sales of windows.
Yeah.
And he does big business. But there's a big network, and basically what I'm thinking, I've never seen anyone do, because I know through his business, this business a little bit, but no one does affiliate marketing. Because affiliate marketing is still kind of like quite kind of camera, gadget, high-end stuff. But if you could do an affiliate market, let's say your colleagues, if they sell one, I don't know, they sell it for £20, you give them 5, you make 10 profit, the product cost you 5, you know, they can make a bit of money every time they sell it, and they're helping out a mate initially, but they could be an affiliate marketing. You can make them your ambassadors, basically.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do any of the construction companies buy their own tools as well? I guess that would be the other route. If you've got a construction company or for whom this adds a safety element or a cost element, I guess they would be the other purchaser, and they wouldn't go through a B&Q and Wix and Homebase. They'd probably buy direct from the brands, I guess.
I'm just waiting really for the result of the patenting, because if I put a patent on it, they will take it more seriously if I contact a big company. It's not that just somebody from the street walks in with a new tool holder. It's a patented item, so it's valid. It's out on the market. So
I'd say that helps, but you know, you can get patents for good items and bad items. You know, the patent doesn't verify that there's demand for it or that the users like it or that they'll pay for it. So I see why you'd want that. You know, if it's something that takes off, you want to have that protection. But I'd try to get in front of, you know, probably, you know, alongside the things Simon said, my route one would be get in front of a buyer at some of the big, you know, trade retailers and see if they're interested. Because I think that'll give you a pretty early, you know, many of them probably won't be interested because they just, you know, they don't take on that many new products maybe. But I reckon, you know, that'll give you a good indication for is this a goer or not before you try some of the other things. And I don't think you need the patent to do that day one. It's great if you've got your application in, but I don't think you need that day one to do that.
Yeah.
So you've got a full-time job, right? You've got a full-time job.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Power plant's safe for us all. So thank you for that. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of options here for you. Why don't you have a think about it, and then let us know what we can do to help you to move it forward.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything else we can help you with at this moment?
No, that's it. Thank you very much for your advice.
No, and don't forget us when you sell hundreds of millions of them. Invite us on your boat, okay?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Don't forget it. All right.
No,
good luck.
Joseph.
See you, Joseph. Avin, thank you so much for giving up your evening this evening and helping out. I really appreciate it. And that's it for us today. Do you have any questions?
Very interesting to hear stories.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, I always find it fascinating. I do this every day, and we do have a bit of a screening process because some of the questions come through we can answer through set content that we have.
Yeah.
But we, I also love it. It's all over the world. We get people from all over the world, and some of the ideas are just brilliant. And you always kind of, I learn myself from this.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought what was interesting about all three of those guys is they've made what they thought of as not very remarkable starts, but they've already done a great job. And I think sometimes people just need reminding of that. You know, you're getting started is, you know, some of the hardest part, and all of them have sold something, right? Which is better than a lot of entrepreneurs. So I think sometimes people need that encouragement.
It's such an important point you're mentioning here, actually, because I think a lot of people don't start because they think they need a killer idea. And actually, most ideas are just, you know, what's already happening in the market, but doing it better. I mean, like water, for example, or even ice, you know, like, you know, or even a pouch, you know, I actually think a lot of brilliance comes from doing that. And then 1% incremental improvement of your product every month, you get compound, right? And over time, I mean, yeah, so it's a very good point. And I agree. I mean, a lot of people listening and might be thinking, oh, I'm not ready to start a business. My product isn't unique enough, or someone else is already doing it. So what? You know, if it's going to earn you a living and you're going to enjoy it and it's going to scratch that itch you've got, then do it. And so, yeah, good point.
We joked about Housekeep. There's 152 other cleaning companies just in our postcode.
Right.
But we do everything a little bit better than everybody else. You know, there's lots of people saying, you know, we didn't invent anything new. We just do it all a little bit better. And I think, you know, of course, there are visionaries who see things and see where the world's shifting to and how it's changing. But I think there's also just, you know, there's lots of things that could be a bit better. It can be a pouch, as you say, it could be an ice cube.
I always think that conversation. I mean, I love the movie The Social Network. I don't particularly like Facebook, and I don't particularly like Mark Zuckerberg. But I always imagine they didn't demonstrate this in The Social Network movie. But one thing that they never mentioned, which must have happened, is someone must have said to Mark Zuckerberg quite a few times, you know, there's MySpace, and Rupert Murdoch just invested in it. You know that, right? You know how powerful he is, and they've got 600 million users. And so I bet, and they never bring that up in any of the movies to recreate what happened at Facebook, but you can just imagine how many times he must have heard that, right? And how daunting that must have been. You're opening up a social network. Oh no, not another one. Friendster, you know, and you're up against these heavyweights that seem like they've got never-ending supply of money and network. And you can still win, right? You can still win.
I think the other thing I love about these stories is I think people look at the end point of the exceptional ones and I don't mean exceptional just in terms of exceptionally successful, but the outliers is what I mean. And you know, Facebook and Uber are the outliers. And I don't know if you've seen recently, Uber's slides are sort of going around on the internet. They're sort of first round slides. They don't talk about Uber Eats. You know, Uber Eats has just got to $1 billion a week in turnover, and it now dwarfs, obviously because of taxi usage, it dwarfs the taxi business. You know, and in their early slide deck, you know, it talked about a market size of, I think, hundreds of millions. You know, a tiny, tiny number. And I think you can't start with, no one really starts with, I'm going to change the world. It's all going to be totally different. They start with, I'm going to solve this problem for this user on repeat, then another user, another user, another user. You know, it's this is running a business stuff. It's one step at a time and one foot in front of the other. And I think it can be hard to remember that sometimes, but you know, all these guys have demonstrated that today.
Yeah, most of the people I've interviewed on my podcast show, you know, the story is always the same. Their idea is not necessarily particularly unique at the beginning, and these persistence and tweaking and all of those elements. But you know, I love looking at those old original decks of companies. I was just looking at YouTube's original deck, and in there they're like, you know, Yahoo are doing video. You know, we're worried, and you know, like. You know, who's the competitor, and they kind of got them on there, and like it's kind of funny, isn't it? Because you just think at the time how these big companies could just do what you're doing. Because that's the other thing, people are scared to share their idea because they think that's what patents. A little bit of patents are, to me, a little bit of people get lost in all that stuff because they maybe, again, I blame Dragon's Den a little bit because it's like, have you got a patent on this? Because that's good TV, right? It shows. But that pouch, for example, if I went and sold that pouch to corporations, the patent isn't what's valuable. It's the relationship with the corporation who's ordering it from you. So therefore, it's manufacturing quality and execution that matters, not patent. And so someone else can make exactly the same product, but not be selling it to corporates and making a fraction of the money. You know, so it's a bit about business strategy, isn't it? It's not about patents. And I think sometimes those things are created by lawyers and so on to make you think. That's how business, that slows you down in my view, because you're scared to share it. You wait for years to get the patent. And then when you got the patent, what are you going to do? What's he going to do? Sue someone because they came out like this. And
I like to start with those, you know, acute user needs. Who wants it? What will they pay for it?
Exactly.
You know, the trade, you know, his friend who he sold it to for 10 quid wasn't asking about the patent. He was asking about, I want this product. I'm willing to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're not. Before I buy this pouch from you, can I just check? You've got a patent. So, but that's what's really interesting about, I guess, having people come on and ask questions like this, because there's a lot of lessons in the very that the businesses they're in and where they're up to. Although they don't have that story, you know, of a story arc of like I started a company and it did really well and now I've sold it for billions, but there's still a lesson in those stories, and they're just at those stages where they need to make a breakthrough. And I joke really, but I really do see that one day we may well see Joseph suddenly, on the front of Time magazine with his pouch, and it became I don't know, like Calvin Klein took it on and started to make it, a mainstream item that every man that wants to look cool wears a pouch to show solidarity for the workforce that's made every building we live in. Like you just anything can happen if you put it out there, right? So that's going to happen now. So that I've said it to the universe. It's going to be Joseph on the front of Time. But anyway, look, Alvin, always a pleasure to chat to you. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for your support on the Purposeful Project Initiative. And I'm hopefully we'll speak to you again very soon.
Great initiative. Thanks, Simon.
Thank you. Have a nice evening. See you.